it looks like we've got just about everyone back in the room. I hope you've recharged with your tea and coffee and a little bit of a snack. So we're going to keep moving, and I'm very excited to announce Arnaud Verchere, who's coming to us as our Group CEO of Tonic International, based in Dubai. He's going to share with you his tips on how he doubled his agency's profit. And without further ado, I'd like to invite Arnaud.
Thank you, Catherine. Good morning. It's a hard title to follow. Yes, I'm a little word about me first, why I pretend to try to teach you anything about how to make profit on an agency. I've been in this business for more than 30 years, in Dubai for 22. Before Dubai, I was in 5 or 6 countries, working for big multinational companies, probably 6 of the top 10 agencies. Always in advertising, creative, suit, planning. My day job is head of strategy. We set up Tonic about 18 years ago, and today we are still fiercely independent, still based in Dubai. We operate across the region, mostly for Middle East clients, but also sometimes across Africa, sometimes across Central Asia. We're not specialized in any field. We work across a wide range of clients, from automotive to B2B, industrial, FMCG, which allowed us to stay resilient through the years. And we also operate from consulting, branding, advertising, media, social media, all this in-house. So for my PR friends here, we do not do PR. We need friends in PR. And I also like PR people. That's a good thing. So I think they gave me a clicker here, so that's where I can start this. Yes, so that's us, Tonic International. I actually love Singapore. I worked here in the early 90s for about 3 years, and I've been coming back regularly. And at one point, we even set up Tonic Asia in Singapore. And the last time I came in business in Singapore, for business in Singapore, was to wind down Tonic Asia. Great time. So for those of you who went through 2008, 2009, that beautiful Lehman Brothers and beautiful crisis that followed, we were in Dubai thinking, it can't happen to us. And sure enough, biggest client we had here shut down. We had to shut down as well. And that is part of the story I want to tell you today, where you grow, you hire on the back of clients that you get, you set up offices on the back of clients that you get, and then they disappear, and then you fire everybody. And then about 5, 6, 7 years later, here we are again, 75, 80 people, lots of clients. We hired lots of people for clients. And then there's a mid-crisis in the Middle East. But also, we have a crisis internally where we realize we're not having fun anymore. 80 people, revenues through the roof, never been that big, but we're not doing the work we like to do. We're wasting a lot of time in administration and maybe non-billable hours. And we just don't think this is right. And profit is down. And so a few years later comes COVID. And COVID forces us to go back to the model we had when we set up Tonic Asia. The model was simple at the time, there's very few good resources in Dubai. We're going to get digital resources out of Asia, from Singapore, to work for Dubai-based clients. We're going to get creative resources, production, photography, film out of South Africa. So we had Tonic Africa in Cape Town to service Dubai. And that was the plan. But in 2006, 2008, that plan meant we were shipping hard drives around the world because you didn't have e-servers. We had Skype that was absolutely terrible in the UAE. So we had very strange, we've all experienced Skype, very strange meetings. And the model wasn't working because clients were not ready for that. Now you go back to COVID, and today, working with COVID, or post-COVID, clients are perfectly fine having creatives everywhere around the world. They're perfectly fine not having people with them in the room. We also have e-servers that are as fast as saving stuff on your hard drive. We have video conferencing that finally the UAE has opened up and we can use. We can use actually what we had all along. We discovered we had Teams in our office suite. Yay! We didn't even have to pay for it. We had been paying for it for years. So, you know, fantastic stuff. And because we had the idea, it was very easy for us at the beginning of COVID to say, okay, well, because for those who've been to Dubai, you know that it is a 90% expat population. It was much cheaper for a lot of our staff to just go back home and work from home than to stay in Dubai and just pay rent staying in these big, you know, very expensive apartments. So that's what we did. A lot of our staff went home, and then we worked with them from Lisbon, from Bulgaria, from South Africa, from the US, from Australia. And that's how it started. An old idea suddenly implemented, and that started to work really well. And what does this have to do with profit? I'll tell you in a second. But at the end of the day, this is really about responding quickly. And I think as independents, that's what we do best. You know, for those of you who've worked with multinational agencies, network agencies, they're just crazy slow. It takes them 3 weeks to make a decision that it takes us 3 hours to implement. So agility is part of that. It's being able to immediately see what's happening, anticipate, have plans. For those who've been through 2008, 2009, you know that you can plan. It's actually a good idea to plan for the worst. So that's what we did for when COVID hit. And we implemented those plans very quickly. It allowed us to keep the talent we had, the quality people that we had, to continue delivering quality work to our clients. At the end of the day, that's what it's all about. It's really about the quality of the work we deliver. And then harnessing the technology that was at our disposal, and it's free. We had already a Google server. Teams was already part of Office. And all this was free. You have collaborative tools today that allow you to work seamlessly on the same document. You have, you know, a lot of technology today that we can harness for nothing. At the end of the day, it was really looking at those international staff and how we nurture them. So we could have gone the route of freelancers, and I know a lot of you have that model where you have a core team and then a lot of freelancers. We wanted full-time staff. So these people were on contract with us. Depending on the region where they were in, we were paying for their pension fund, we were paying for their health insurance, like we would do in Dubai. But they would work in Dubai time with the Dubai holidays, and which for some was fantastic, because we have lots of holidays in Dubai. And really working exactly the idea we had before with Tonic Asia and Tonic Africa, servicing the clients in Dubai. So it's not about you're in Lisbon, you're going to set up your Lisbon agency, and we're going to get Portuguese clients. Not at all. You're going to continue working for Dubai from there. So that's the international staff aspect. Today, we're about 30-something in Dubai, in Tonic, but about 10 of our staff is sitting overseas. So 1/3 of the staff is sitting overseas. They are permanent staff that work only for our Dubai clients. When I say Dubai clients, they're actually Middle Eastern clients, but they work for the clients from the agency based in Dubai. They don't have offices in their own, they work from home, and that's how we function. And they're all on contract with us. We do use freelancers for specific, you know, very specific skills that we don't have, and then we need someone that just does that project. So we do use freelancers, but most of that stuff is actually permanent staff for us. It brings a wealth of experience that we don't have in Dubai, and I don't know how it is in your country, but Dubai attracts a lot of people, but there's also a lot of people who don't want to come to Dubai. And a lot of very talented, very creative people look at Dubai like a giant sandpit, and they don't want to come. They're very happy at home. And what happened during COVID as well is we realized that a lot of talented people who used to work in their agencies in a country maybe where they were not very happy suddenly went back home. And they continued working for 2-3 years with that same agency. And then when the time came to go back, they were like, why am I coming back? I'm very happy here. I've got my friends, my family, I've got the nice life. I'm being paid the big bucks in a country maybe where it's not as expensive. Why do you want me to go back to that place? We work well like that, all right? I'm sure you've experienced this. And we were saying to these people, well, stay where you are, come and work with us. Very happy like that. Please don't come to Dubai. Because Dubai is crazy expensive for an agency to have people stay there. So we looked at extremely experienced people that otherwise would never have considered Dubai. Obviously, these people were also much cheaper than if we flew them to Dubai. But it's that experience that really started raising the bar. Because at the end of the day, when you work home, and I don't know how many of you here work in the creative sector, but even in planning is the same. Sometimes when you want ideas, and I don't know if your agency is set up as an open floor or whatever, but it is very difficult to do some proper thinking when every 5 minutes someone comes to you and says, it's just going to be 5 minutes, right? 50 times a day. It's very difficult, and I find my senior creative people have exactly that problem. It's the same in planning, but when you want to do good thinking, it's not bad to be at home from time to time and not having people bug you. So we get actually better results from more professional people who have more time to think about what we're doing with less clients. Therefore, we can put more time on each of those clients, and therefore we can charge more because we charge for value. So that's part of it. Now, we look at higher value for money. I'm 100% with Catherine on this. You charge whatever clients are ready to pay. There's no base price. It's how much does it cost? It costs what they're willing to pay. And the worst thing for me is when I give a price and the client says yes. I feel horrible. I go back to the office and my staff can tell you I moan and bitch for 3 days. Very French that way. Why? Because they should have negotiated. That means I didn't price high enough. And that, I feel horrible for that. So for me, it's always, do they feel like they are dying when I tell them the price? Yes, that's what I want. Now we're talking. But it's okay, I'll give you a discount. That's the Middle East. You need to haggle a little. So if you don't haggle at all, then you know you've priced wrong. And I want them to tell me, oh, but you're 10%, 20% more expensive than BBDO or whatever network. Like, sure, it's better value. That's why you're paying more. I'll give you 2% discount. It's okay, don't worry. So that's the negotiation for value for money. You need to know what the market is willing to pay. If I go and sell something in the UAE, I'll sell at one price. I don't know if you work across the region. We have a colleague from Dubai here. But if I go in Saudi, I can easily multiply by 4 or by 10 what I'm charging in Dubai for pretty much the same work. But it will be better quality. It will be more time spent. But it won't be 4 to 10 times more. But this is what the market is willing to pay. Market by market, you need to be smart. At one point, we wanted to enter the Egyptian market. Egyptian market is great. Lots of people, huge market, except I had to take a zero out. That can't work. So you have Egyptian agencies that work in Egypt, and that's fine. But for an international agency to compete in Egypt on price, we had to divide by 10 what we were charging. Just not a proposition that works. So you need to charge the value the market is willing to pay. The other thing is getting good professional, very senior people in the team raises the bar in terms of professionalism internally. Everybody suddenly gets better, everybody gets more professional, but also with clients. When you have a very professional person across the table, clients become more professional. When you charge more, suddenly clients listen more. So it is really that value is actually a virtuous cycle where you get better people, these better people interact better with clients, we end up having better clients, clients who don't behave can go to work with BBDO, and we're very happy that way. Now, a little thing we didn't see coming early on is those time zones. I don't know how many here came from the UK, but you must be feeling it. That jet lag, but most importantly, we just can't work. Like Lisbon, for instance. Lisbon is fun, London is fun, but when it's winter and it's 4 hours behind, and you have a meeting in Dubai at 9 a.m., and at the time we had weekends still on Sunday was our first day of the week. Now it's Monday, like everybody else, so that's easy. But imagine that. The guy in Lisbon, Sunday morning, meeting at 9 a.m. in Dubai. It's 5 a.m. for him. It's still dark. He's probably still drunk from the night before. He probably still hasn't slept, all right? And he's in that meeting, and you can feel the pain in his eyes, all right? And if he doesn't fall asleep, it's a miracle. So we decided that we would not work with people that are more than 3 hours behind or more than 3 hours ahead. So we have Australian partners, but they help us for growth, but we don't have permanent staff that is sitting beyond 3 hours or before 3 hours. It is just not manageable if you want them to work as a team, a coherent team that works for that same company in that same zone. So South Africa is fantastic, for instance, because they might be 9-hour flight from us, but they're 1 hour away. So that works perfectly well. Another thing to keep in mind, and that we learned also the hard way when we set up Tonic Asia and Tonic Africa, is culture and systems don't travel just like that. You need to put in place processes. At the end of the day, we all pride ourselves in who we are and the culture that we have and how we do things differently. Well, you need to be able to convey that as well. So you need to put in place systems that allow you to convey that culture, that people overseas that are not sitting in the office every day understand that culture and how we do business and how we do business differently. The things we do, the things we don't. So that, also you need to be careful with that. Local understanding is still vital. So what we did is we replaced all our heads. Creative director, head of strategy in digital, head of social, head of media. All these heads got replaced with people that are from the region, speak Arabic, have been in the region for a long time, have worked very often in several markets, or maybe one of them is head of client servicing, is Egyptian, but was born and raised in Dubai, went and traveled around the region, came back, have a deep-rooted understanding of the region you operate in. Because if you work with people that are sitting in Cape Town and in Bucharest, and you were expecting them to understand the Arab culture, and you have a Portuguese creative director, let's say, guiding them, that is a recipe for disaster. So you need to keep a head of department that really deeply understands the region you operate in. Otherwise, that is not going to work. Client servicing also, we find, has to be in the country. One, because they coordinate better with one another when they are in the same office. It's also easier for them to be in the office, not necessarily every day, but at least 3-4 days a week. So we keep that flexibility. When they need to think, they can be outside the office, but otherwise they should be inside the office. And client servicing really does need to be there. A lot of clients operate much better when people are in front of them to present work. They don't necessarily care if the creative is sitting overseas, is on a Teams call, but they want people in the room to really service them. So we find that is very difficult to export. And in the end, we're also talking about growth here, because that's very nice. We stay small, but we maximize profit, but where do we go from there? So what we're doing today, and so that was the first 2 years. The last year, what we've done is we've partnered up with a lot of agencies around the world that offer services that are just on the fringe of what we do, or services that we do but we can't scale up easily without hiring people. An example, for instance, is SEO. We offer very good SEO services in my agency, and we do this in a way where we really integrate the creative work with the social, with the digital, and all this working together, and we pride ourselves in this. Well, we found a supplier that purely does SEO and SEM. That's all they do. And we use them to scale up when we have clients that require a lot of SEO. And then for 6 months, a year, whatever, they do the back end of this. We white label it completely, and we sell that service. But because we knew how to do it in-house, it's very easy for us to integrate their teams as part of our team. So that's one example, but we do that with PR agencies. We do that with a lot of other type of specialty agencies, event agencies, for instance, where we bring together very simple referral contract where we bring business to you, you give us money back, you bring business to us, vice versa. And that works extremely well. That allows for a completely transparent partnership. Very often these people sit at the table with the client as well. And that is what allows us to scale up, bring more revenue, but still keep profit high, rather than hiring people every time. And then we see if there is something that consistently brings more revenue and where we could benefit from getting a more headcount, then we'll hire that person. But we'll do that 3-6 months later rather than hiring as soon as you win the pitch. And then you start getting your money back a year later. So we've changed that model because we felt, and going through these cycles in 2008 and then again in 2015, we felt that reproducing this again during COVID and getting out of COVID and hiring again was just nonsense. So that's what we wanted to share with you today. I've got another 5 minutes. I can take questions. Anybody has a question? I know you were not prepared for questions, but... No? No questions?
Oh, thank you. I thought that was great. Good follow-on. How do you engage? Do you have a HR department that would do all the paperwork, or is it your finance team? How do you actually do the negotiations? Do you find that easy across the territories?
We actually find it easy, yes. So we trust people. We trust that we're hiring people that have integrity and that they're not lying to us. We also double-check everything. We have very good lawyers. And we have a decent finance department that manages that and admin that manages that. But we have good lawyers. So lawyer up, people. That's big advice.
Hi there.
Hi.
Quick question. So you spoke about culture and systems. Can you tell us a little bit about the technologies that you have to encourage collaboration and keeping everything in sync?
That's a very good question, actually. And that really was a big learning curve, I think, during COVID, on how to keep this alive. And technology is not really the point. So we do a lot of meetings that we didn't do before. I mean, we probably got better organized. So we have leadership team meetings 3 times a week. We have growth meetings once a week. That is with just the top management. We have once a month what we call the high teas, where everybody from the tea boy to me, to anybody in the agency, will present that format, that 3-minute, 9 slides format. We make it a bit longer, but you have 3 to 5 minutes to present something that you thought was really cool last month. It can be in advertising, it can be a work we did, but it can be a TV show, it can be something you've seen, it can be ChatGPT, it can be anything you've seen, and you present that to the entire office. This has the advantage of, it replaces, if you want, the water cooler. Where you go around and you chat about stuff, you get to know your colleagues, maybe that don't work in the same department, and so that one we find works really well. The format now has changed a bit because it was really crazy to come up with that every month, but also it was crazy amount of time taken. So we split that in 3 groups. So now you do it every 3 months, and it's still the whole agency there, but only 1/3 of the agency will present at a time. So that works very well. It's got nothing to do with technology. It's just using Teams, really. Otherwise, I mean, we have timesheet systems.